Everyone in the neighborhood called him useless. Yet no one ever asked how he survived each day, silently stitching his shattered heart together. Pretending the loneliness didn't slowly break him inside. They whispered when he passed by, laughed when he shared dreams, and slowly convinced everyone that his life was already finished before it ever truly began. At 32, his face carried more exhaustion than hope, yet behind those tired eyes lived a quiet heart, still fighting every day to stay alive. He worked wherever he could, not for praise or money, but simply to remind himself that he still mattered in a world that kept ignoring him. Every night, when the world slept peacefully, he fought invisible battles inside his chest, carrying words that hurt deeper because they were never spoken aloud. That morning arrived quietly, without miracles or applause. Yet something shifted inside him, a fragile determination whispering that surviving another day could still mean something worthwhile for his broken, tired heart. He walked toward the open fields alone, breathing cold air, realizing the noise of judgment faded there, leaving space where his thoughts finally felt lighter and less afraid than before. Stopping before abandoned land, he recognized himself immediately, ignored, dismissed, yet waiting patiently, believing that even neglected ground could someday answer care with quiet growth if given time and kindness. Kneeling there, touching the soil gently, he felt useful for the first time in years, as if the earth accepted him without questions, conditions, or cruel memories from his past. He began clearing the land with bare hands, not to prove anyone wrong, but to save himself. Discovering purpose appears when effort finally meets quiet belief inside a wounded soul. People laughed again when they saw him working alone. But this time, the noise stayed outside, unable to enter a heart finally learning where strength truly comes from, quietly and without permission. Under changing skies, he planted seeds carefully, trusting patience over praise, believing small daily efforts could rebuild a life others had already decided was worthless to everyone watching from a distance. When rain arrived, he protected the fragile plants, remembering nights he wished someone would shield him the same way, without judgment, hurry, or expectation during his loneliest seasons of life itself. Days passed into weeks as tiny green leaves emerged, quietly teaching him that growth does not ask permission. It responds to care given consistently, patiently, and with faith even when nobody applauds. Seeing the first harvest, he smiled through tears, realizing success mattered less than proving to himself he was never useless, only unheard during his hardest, quietest years of long survival and hope. Slowly, people began stopping to watch, confused by the change, realizing the man they once dismissed was quietly building something patience had protected for a very long time. For the first time, he didn't look down when people stared, because his worth no longer depended on opinions that once tried breaking him completely. But waking each day knowing he hadn't abandoned himself anymore, he shared his harvest freely, proving bitterness never grew in his heart, because pain had already taught him empathy before success ever taught him confidence. Children watched quietly, learning that patience, not loud talent, often decides who rises when everyone else gives up too early. He taught without speeches or lectures, showing that real lessons live inside actions repeated daily, especially when nobody expects anything from you. The land that once mirrored his pain now reflected his healing, reminding him that what we nurture patiently eventually nurtures us back. Standing there, he finally understood he was never useless, only unseen during seasons when silence was mistaken for weakness. Respect arrived quietly, but by then, he no longer needed approval. Having already repaired the parts of himself others once shattered, he walked forward lighter, no longer carrying labels forced onto him by people who never understood his quiet endurance. The words that once defined him slowly lost power, replaced by a voice inside that finally spoke with kindness and truth. Growth never announces itself loudly. It reveals itself gently. After enough patience, proves stronger than doubt, fear, and every careless opinion thrown along the way. Sometimes, the strongest people are those quietly rebuilding themselves while the world is busy deciding who matters. If you've ever been called useless, share your story below and subscribe for more stories like this. Your quiet transformation might be closer than you think.